So a Muslim family in Watford, the Zaffars, have been looking after little Sandra Mbuthia. She's the daughter of the young Kenyan Christians across the road, Peris and Martin. Between them, they've struck up an unusual arrangement. The couple were struggling, and the Zaffars basically took in their child. Sandra, now 3, and the Zaffars, especially Saika, have pretty much fallen in love with each other. So much so that the little girl spends most of her time with them, despite unhelpful rumors among friends on both sides who view their arrangement with suspicion. The two cultures are definitely different, but the freedom the Zaffars have given the couple means they've been able to get on in life, to work, and now buy their first house in nearby Luton.
We wanted her to start getting used now being here, but Saika could not. Saika loved Sandra so much. She wanted to be Sandra all the time. It was a finding balance. It was just finding balance.
That's Peris. For her, putting down roots in a home of her own after the rented flat above the laundrette felt really good. Sandra was still with the Zaffars, but spending more time at her new home. Family life was becoming more stable. But then, one day a letter arrived from Martin.
I couldn't get the citizenship.
It was a letter from our solicitor saying that Martin have 6 months to appeal your case when you don't meet the criteria, this and that and that.
And we decided that we had to go back to Kenya. That is a decision that didn't come easy, but it was the right thing.
Breaking the news to the Zaffars was going to be hard. This was the family that had been pretty much raising their child.
They were going to be more affected by it than even more than us. But Seke is the one who ended up being more attached to Sandra than anyone else in the house.
It was Peris who broke the news in the end, 2 months before they were due to leave. It was a bombshell.
She left it till quite late to tell us. And she said to me, we need to talk and we're moving. Wow, okay. So when did you plan this? And when are you planning to go? For a second, I remember thinking, and she's going to say, and we're leaving Sandra here. I genuinely did think that. I remember saying, and Sandra? And she went, yeah, we're taking Sandra with us. And I didn't cry. I think I was a bit shocked.
Peris does remember tears. Lots of them.
I said it and she just went down, screaming, cried for like 15 minutes. And so I came, held her, and she just cried, and she just cried. She said, Peris, no, this cannot be true. This cannot be true. Is there anything my family and I can do so that you do not have to leave?
For Saika, life without Sandra was hard to imagine. How would she cope? How would they cope, for that matter?
I thought, they're so used to life without her. How are they going to manage with her? They won't know what to do with her 24/7.
Saika had to go and tell her mom.
Oh, gosh, I cried my eyes out. And my mum did too.
I was incredibly upset. I just couldn't stop crying when I found out. Whenever thoughts of her came to me, the tears would pour uncontrollably.
I just saw Sandra in the future. I didn't think for a second that they were going to move. I mean, I knew she would have had to start school. Maybe that meant moving back with her mum and dad. But it was always, whether or not I have her full time or whether or not I see her on the weekends, she was always there.
Peris really felt for Saika. The bond was so strong. At 21, she was devoting herself to caring for Sandra. And now she was really suffering. Peris imagined it was a lot like being a surrogate mom.
I could almost imagine maybe that's what they go through. Like this baby you carried and now you have to give it and have nothing to do with it anymore. My heart broke for her.
Saika was spending as much time with Sandra as she could before they left. As they got closer to the move, Peris began to feel more and more excited about the future.
To me now, I started looking at it as if it's a blessing in disguise. Because I felt like God is giving us another opportunity now to go start life in a new country as a family now, together.
But feeling this positive when others were so upset by the plans?
I felt guilty.
By now, Sandra was almost 4 and was asking questions herself. She was moving away from the people she saw as family. What was it going to mean for her?
I didn't want those questions. She said, "Daddy, are we coming back?" My idea was, eventually, that's an answer kids don't comprehend.
It was the year 2000, the new millennium. A time for new beginnings. And finally, time for the families to part.
It was really emotional, of course. Loads of tears and hugs and, promises.
I remember telling us, like, I promise you, you will see Sandra again.
I genuinely didn't think I would. But I remember crying and just hugging her and kissing her continuously. Because, I just thought, she's only 4. She's never going to remember us.
Saika focused on storing up memories, which she thought would have to last her a lifetime.
I have an image of her wearing shorts and a cap and her glossy face, just sitting there with a cheeky smile. That's my last sort of image of her before she left.
And then she was gone, to a different country, and a world away from Watford. In all the pain of parting, Saika did wonder for a moment if she could have steered things in another direction.
When they left, I spoke to Mum about it once, and I remember saying to her, "Isn't it a shame that we didn't do this by the book? Because perhaps they wouldn't have been allowed to take her away, perhaps, signing some documents over to say that, we've legally fostered her or adopted her or, that kind of stuff." But then I realised now that was really selfish of me. It's because the emotions are so raw and because you're heartbroken because you never thought that this baby was going to leave you. I realised that, she is their child and, this is the best move for them. It took me a long time to accept that, this was our baby, but not our baby, and somebody had taken her away. We just kept ourselves really busy. We just got used to it like you do with everything in life when you lose something.
Over in Kenya, Peris and Martin were adapting too. At first, they didn't have jobs, so there was lots of quality time, doing what they had barely ever done.
We were basically just 3 of us.
For the first time, we were forced to now be full-time parent to Sandra.
It was like getting to know her properly.
When she came back, Sandra was talkative. I was like, these kids never keep quiet.
He liked what he was hearing. It sounded familiar.
You could tell she was raised by the Southers. She was very polite because they're very polite. She was very outspoken because Saika was. So when you looked at her, you say, wow, she's been raised well. I was like, Saika, man, that's a good job.
Today, Martin, Peris, and Sandra are no longer in Kenya, where they went when they left England and the Zafars. They settled in Canada after a spell in the States, but they have never forgotten the Watford family, who rescued them when they had uncertain jobs, no money, a new baby, and no family at hand. Adiba felt the bond from far away.
We got a letter from them. I remember Martin wrote such beautiful words. He said, it's a massive country and we have everything here, all kind of people, and I love it. But there's no one like yourself over here. No people like you.
And Saika, of course, has not forgotten. As the years rolled on, she's never missed Sandra's birthday. Every year, without fail, there's a card and some money. Sometimes it was hard to track the family down as they moved around, but she made sure it got there. Even once she was busy with 2 children of her own, a daughter, Larab, and a son, Ibrahim. And today, after 18 years, there is a reunion.
Paris. Let's see what she's saying. 5 minutes away. Got lost a little.
I think let me turn, then back right there again.
I'm like nervous to get out of the car. All of a sudden, I can't move. Seriously, all of a sudden, it's like my heart is like boom, 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 and I'm so nervous.
Oh gosh, really excited about seeing all of them. Last time I met Martin was when we said bye. I think he's probably mellowed out a bit. Peris, I don't think she'll ever change. And Sandra, honestly, I can't explain the excitement.
What about Sandra? What's she feeling? Well, actually, I can help. Because that 21-year-old standing with her parents at Saika's door, that's me. I am Sandra. I can tell you, it's the warmest feeling. It's the love for family you can't see enough of.
Oh my God!
I missed you. Hi.
Look at you.
Oh,
What's up?
how you doing?
Remember that?
Yes.
How are you?
Oh. She's
You
the one.
haven't changed at all. Come on, let's get inside.
Come on in.
Two families with a special connection back together after 18 years. It must be a bit of a shock for Saika's parents, Nana and Abba as I called them. I'm a bit taller now, with dark pink braids, not the fluffy haired toddler they hugged goodbye.
Hey, Sandra.
Yes,
Hey, Sandra.
You have not changed.
Very Sandra.
Hey, Sandra.
No.
I know,
You sure?
I'm big, I'm sure.
Beta, nice to see you after a long time.
Hey, how are you doing?
It's so nice to see
I miss
you.
you.
Me too.
I can't recognize her. She's a big girl now.
Mr. Zafar stands slightly stooped and unsteady on his feet, with tears in his eyes and a huge smile. Nana is her shy, elegant self, and Saika is there beaming at all of us. Warm and beautiful and delighted.
Yeah. She was a little tiny girl, Yeah. She stay with me, she's never crying. No. Everybody love her, Never mind she's a Christian or Brahman or Indian. She's just like us. Yeah.
You still look very good, Zafar.
Yeah.
What have you?
I'm 82 now.
82?
Yeah.
I'd say you look 60.
No. Believe me, I like that family, Even my daughter.
Yes.
She look after them, That's why they remember her.
I told you it was complicated. A lot of this story I didn't really know myself until I came here for these programs. Now I know what happened all those years before I have memories. How I became their doorstep daughter. The next question is harder. Just how did what these people did change us all? Who are we now? That's all in the next and last episode.